Hello everyone, my name's Miss Bear. Welcome back to another video. So I thought I would start my video today in a friend's garden where I've come to feed their fish. And while I'm here, I thought I would just show you some of the plants in their garden. My favourite plant is this magnolia tree that they have, which is in bloom now, and it's looking really beautiful. So this is the magnolia tree. It doesn't even look real. The blooms are so beautiful. Let me do a close-up so you can see the blooms there. Really pretty. So this is the view of the garden, and I'll walk down to where the fish are. So this is the very large bucket of the general food that they get from the pet shop, and they get 2 good handfuls a day in springtime. They haven't had any food in the winter time because they go into a state of almost dormancy then, so it's quite easy to look after them then, but they're going to get 2 good handfuls of this food now. So here you can see the fish under their protective netting, and I've got to remove the netting carefully and then feed them. I've lifted the screen. It was quite heavy out of the way. I'm just giving them a minute for them to come towards me, and then I'm going to feed them. I couldn't video myself feeding them because I was scared of dropping my camera, but the fish have now actually been fed. I'll finish this introduction with some more shots of the beautiful magnolia tree. Whenever we see these great country houses, we imagine the fabulous lives of the families who would have lived here. But behind the scenes, there would have been a whole host of servants working tirelessly to keep the estate alive. They would have started their work as children and then stayed with the same family and been promoted up through the ranks. There was a very strict hierarchy amongst the servants, and the head male was the butler. He was in charge of the wine cellar, and he also had responsibility for serving the family during meal times. The head female was the housekeeper. She dealt with the tradesmen, kept the accounts, and she was responsible for keeping the house clean. There was also the valet, who served the master, his own personal servant, and the lady's maid, who kept the mistress's dresses pristine and also did her hair. Then there were a whole range of maids, and their job was to do the fires, washing and ironing, and keep the house clean. In the kitchen, you had the head cook, and she was in charge of the meals, and she was helped with help from kitchen maids and scullery maids. The gardener had his own team of gardeners, and they worked in the flower beds and kept the whole area clean, and also tended to the kitchen garden. They would usually have a small cottage on the estate, so they could actually be close to the gardens. There would also be the head coachman and the stable boys, and they were in charge of the horses. I'm actually standing here now in the old stables. So the outbreak of the First World War brought about changes because all the men went off to fight, and thousands of women took their places in factories and did their jobs. And then even when the war ended, a lot of women chose to carry on doing these outside jobs and didn't return to domestic service. Then in the 1920s, a lot of houses had electricity and could buy labour-saving devices, and that meant that they could exist with a skeleton staff. So I'm here at Dunham, and I'm going to show you the servants' quarters and go through what life would have been like. Our tour of the servants' quarters begins here. This is the courtyard at the back of the house, and this would be where the horses would be brought, and washing would also be hung to dry here. The various doors lead to different servants' rooms. We start in the scullery where the washing up would be done, and food would also be prepared. This is the pantry or cold storage. It would be kept very cold so that the food could stay fresh. Next we go to the kitchen. It's very large. You can see all the copper pans there in the distance. Every day would be pewter plates, and then silver would be polished for special occasions. Here is the butler's pantry, and a volunteer from the National Trust is dressed as the butler for the day. This room has the most expensive china and glassware locked away in the cabinets. Here we can see the bells, so His Lordship can call from upstairs, and there's even a telephone installed, so His Lordship can ask for a tray to be brought up to him at any time, night or day. This room has a wooden sink, and this protects the expensive china, so there's less chance of breakages compared to a ceramic sink. We also have this really heavy iron because electricity was not in the house then. Even though this is the best room in the servants' quarters, you can see how simply it's furnished, and we'll contrast it with the lavish accommodation upstairs. I'm going to finish my video by showing you some of the beautiful camellias in the garden. I hope you found this video interesting. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.